more like it. That is much more like it. Here we go. We're getting ready. We're here for a Knicks post-game live into the Knicks-Verse. Welcome, everybody. My name is George. If this is your first time here or you've been here before but have not subscribed yet, what are you doing? Subscribe. This is the place for the best Knicks recaps and commentary anywhere. Anywhere. I hate to toot my own horn, but I read everything. And this is the place to get the most rational, realistic commentary on the Knicks. I love everybody else, but this is the place. Welcome. And if this is also, I want to hear your comments. I read them all, and you guys are like, I've said this before, you're like my collaborators. Sometimes I'm way off. Sometimes I overlook things, and that's why I love the comments. I read them all. So please drop your comments, share the video. That will help a lot. I haven't been going live as much this season. A lot of it is scheduling. A lot of it is just the team itself. It's a bit of a frustrating team because this team has the potential for greatness. But they seem to not believe it themselves yet. That's the thing. Tonight, they played some. It's hard to even judge if they played good defense. I'm just being real with you guys. The Orlando Magic's offense without Franz Wagner and Paolo Banchero is like I've played like equally competitive offenses at the YMCA on 23rd Street. That's right. I used to play there. And this wasn't, I mean, these guys couldn't hit a three. They could not hit a three tonight. So it's hard to judge if the Knicks played good defense. But the most important thing is they pull out the win. And the Magic are, they're let me tell you something. Once they get healthy, which apparently they're going to get Paolo back, they said sometime in December. We're halfway through. December 15th today, which is also the first day that free agents that were signed over the summer can be traded. So we'll see about that. And they're missing Franz Wagner, who recently sustained the same injury that Paolo had, so he may not even be back till who knows what, like February, I would imagine. So what happened was the Knicks went down to Orlando, and they beat the Magic 100-91, and they took hold of third place in the Eastern Conference. So that's good, or at least I think third place in our division. Third place in the division. So that's excellent news. Excellent news, especially in hindsight. Especially under the situation that we have, where the Knicks should be competing for the NBA Cup right now. There's no doubt the Knicks should have beaten the Atlanta Hawks. I'm still annoyed by that loss to the Hawks. The Knicks are a far better team. They just haven't. They didn't play like it that night. The Hawks took it. And then basically just they lost to the Bucks. The Knicks would have taken care of the Bucks. There are matchups that aren't favorable. Even though it's a weaker team, they may have the certain elements that expose your weaknesses. And that seems to be what the Hawks have at the moment. But the Knicks definitely would have beaten the Bucks, and they would be in the finals facing OKC. Instead, we have a different, it's almost like sliding doors. I don't know if anyone ever saw that movie. With Gwyneth Paltrow, sliding doors. Instead, the Knicks are in a different area now, where they're not forced to play an 83rd game, and they had an additional 2 days rest. So maybe in the long run this will work out, because there's some people out there, in the world who are saying, hey, it was a great thing the Knicks didn't advance in the NBA Cup because of those reasons. All right, we'll see. I can see the logic because of the coach that we have, Tom Thibodeau, who loves to burn out his starters, burn out his best players, overplay them. So this forced him to basically back off. Actually, they just had extra days rest. So that could end up being a net positive ultimately. But emotionally, it's not. Intellectually, it's not. Because we as a fan base are looking for signs of how good this team could be. And losing to the Hawks on Wednesday night was not a good sign. Not a good sign at all. So it's games like tonight we took care of business. Now, this is a severely depleted team. Honestly, I'll be perfectly honest. If the Knicks suffered the same type of injury that the Magic has suffered, losing their best two players and scorers, do you think the score would have been the same? Imagine this game without Cat or Brunson, which is basically what the Magic had to deal with. Do you think it would have been competitive? I don't think so. So we're lacking in depth. We're lacking in a coach who's able to develop that depth. And I say that with a straight face. Straight face. There's many times where he's playing guys full quarters unnecessarily. And I'm sounding the alarm now. Because in my opinion, the New York Knicks have way too much offensive talent to not go deep in the playoffs. Once we get to, and I talk about the playoffs because honestly, you know what? I'm 60 years old. I've been waiting a long fucking time for this team to like turn into something legit. And they gave me something. They gave me something in the late 80s and in the 90s. And that was when I lived in New York City. I lived on 23rd Street where I played at the McBurney. And I would go over and watch games constantly at MSG. And it was exciting. But they never had an offense like they have now. They had the amazing defense. They had probably the best defense. And everyone always says defense wins championships. No. Offense and defense wins championships. You need both. You need both. Which is why we don't have a ring. Which is why Patrick Ewing doesn't have a ring on his finger. That's why. Which is why Allen Houston doesn't have a ring on his finger. Which is why my favorite, one of my favorite players, Starks doesn't have a ring on his finger. Because yes, you need to be a great defensive team, but you need a great offense as well because you're facing other teams with great defenses. The Knicks have the best defense they've ever had as a franchise now. And I'm putting this out right now. And I already tweeted this out, so anyone who follows me on Blue Sky and Threads and all that stuff, they know what I've said. I'm putting this on you, Tom Thibodeau. This was game 26. Yes, you held an opponent under 100 points, but this is a severely, even with their best two offensive players, they're not a good offensive team. So let's just, be frank here. Tom Thibodeau, by now, you should have figured out how to get this defense to play the right way. How to get them to communicate. How to get them to understand when to go for the steal and when not. It's incredibly frustrating. But a win is a win, and I love that our team is in third place. But third place is not what I'm thinking about with this team. No. You know what I'm thinking about. I want a parade. I want a parade down Broadway, and I want to be there. I'm going to lose my mind. Can this team get us there? Well, I'm going to be here calling it out how they can do it. And number one is Thibs has to redesign his defensive scheme to adapt to the team he has and adapt to the current NBA. If Orlando Magic wasn't the worst three-point shooting team in the NBA, we would have lost tonight. So don't get too happy about this victory. Don't get too happy. All right, let's get to it. By the way, welcome everybody. Sorry to get all like intense on that, but that's just the reality of where we're at right now. Are we playing games? Yes, we're playing games, but are we trying to win? Yes, absolutely. We want it all. Shout out to Lex the Destroyer, best mod around. Thank you so much for joining me. Taka, Jose, Tony. We got a great group here. SS, what's up? Fuck the NBA Cup. Well, you know what? To some extent. But it is a measuring stick. it'll look what happened last year. Who made it to the final last year? The Indiana Pacers. And who made it to the Eastern Conference Finals last year? The Indiana Pacers. So the NBA Cup does matter. It does matter in terms of a barometer telling you what type of team you have. Right now, we have a team who's good, but not quite good enough. And that bothers me tremendously. Bothers me tremendously because I know the kind of team I know the ingredients that are there. This team can go all the way. They can. Even with their defensive deficiencies. But how come the Atlanta Hawks can hide Trae Young? Good question, right? All right. We want a cup. We want a cup. We want a chip. We want everything. We want everything. This is New York City. This is orange and blue. This is the capital, the Mecca. We deserve a championship here. And the Knicks, they have the ingredients to give it to us. They just haven't quite developed into that quite yet. And I'm going to put that on Tom Thibodeau. I'm putting it on Thibs. And Leon, when I say Thibs, I'm also blaming you as well. So put that into perspective there. It's Tony Melendez. You're from Denver. What's up, brother, Tony? Denver's a great city. Great city. I love the Denver Nuggets. I do. I think they're fantastic. All right, let's keep going here. We got Cat was outstanding offensively tonight. He got a 20-20 double-double. 22 points, 22 rebounds, 5 assists on 7 of 50, only 15 field goal attempts. I'll tell you, if this guy could play defense on the level of who could I pick? Let's say just somebody on the level of I hate to say Anthony Davis, but can you imagine if he'd be a perennial MVP constantly? But he doesn't. He does what he can. What he does is just suck rebounds. Any rebound he can get to, he just snatches it, which is fantastic. Great game for him. If we don't have his performance, we don't win tonight. Karl Anthony Towns recorded 22 points and 22 rebounds. Shout out to New York Knicks PR tonight versus Orlando, making the 13th time in his career and first time as a Knick recording 20-plus points and 20-plus rebounds. I think we're going to see this a couple more times this season. His rebounding is just he's made a leap this season in rebounding. He's leading the NBA in rebounding. So, do you need any more proof he's made a leap? He has made a leap in that respect. Does he protect the rim the way the Tom Thibodeau defensive scheme needs to be protected? No, he doesn't. But does the man do all the other things? He does as many as he can. Do I need him to do further, to do more? Yes, I do. I want him to exhaust himself defensively because I know that his offense will still show up, and maybe he won't shoot 53% from the three-point line. That's okay if he gives us that defensive presence on the other end. Denials. If he shoots 38%, 39% from the three-point line, that's fine. If he gives us the denials. Those are the checks and balances. Those are the offset things that they need to work out. But right now, this was great. We needed this to get this win tonight. I'm excited about it. Shout out to the chat. Thank you guys for joining me here. This is my first live post game of the season. It's game 26. We're deep into the season now. This is the serious stuff now. We need to really begin to assess what kind of squad we have, and it's difficult because we're still missing Mitch Robinson. And and to be honest with you guys, I'm going to talk about Mitch a little bit right now. I'm not really sure what the what Thibs and Leon, the front office, have in mind for Mitch. It could, I had heard a while back that Mitch wasn't going to return until January. Maybe by the end of December. Well, now we're hearing from Shams it may not even be till February. because they want him to be 100% or near 100% and at least his conditioning to be at a much higher level. Because the problem with Mitch is when you put him out on the court and his conditioning isn't at 100%, he tends to get re-injured. That's just his history. We saw it last season. We've seen it many other seasons. But man, when this guy is rolling and he's feeling his oats, he is, in my opinion, he is definitely one of the very best defensive centers in the NBA. Game-changing type of centers in the NBA. So, and you know, and I'm in agreement with the organization's approach. Let's just wait on Mitch. Let's not rush him back. Let's wait, because what we really need him for are the playoffs against those special fives like Embiid, Joker, Giannis, guys like that. Even Porzingis. Like, you know, Mitch can definitely, you know, make Porzingis' life difficult. The thing that I struggle with is like, okay, so you're planning on playing Cat and Mitch together. Is that the plan? If that were the plan, wouldn't you already be trying to make Cat start playing the role of the 4 now? Wouldn't you want to have Sims out there? Wouldn't you want to have, I mean, Huck Porty got injured, unfortunately, but maybe, hey, sign somebody else, bring somebody else in. Like, wouldn't you want to, like, give Towns some time at the 4 so he starts getting adjusted to that now, 26 games in? Well, maybe they don't, maybe they feel they don't need that much time. Maybe they feel like, hey, just like 40% of a season, the remaining, let's say from February on, is enough for Cat to adjust his role and approach to offensively and defensively on the court, to have to learn how to play with Mitch Robinson. Because if this team is going to make the leap from 3rd place right now to 1st and to the dominant team in the playoffs, if the roster stays the way it is, and Mitch comes back and Landry Shamet comes back, then that means Mitch and Cat have to learn how to play together. And that means the other 3 who are on the court with them have to learn how to play with them and maximize them. We're not seeing any of that. Which makes me then wonder, is the whole approach, is there a trade coming? These are the things I think about. All right, let's keep moving. Jalen Brunson, outstanding offensively tonight. 31 points, 4 of 8 from the three-point line, 5 assists. To me, he definitely looks like he's playing somewhat injured, somewhat compromised. I think both ankles are barking at him, and he can't quite deliver in the paint the way he normally does. But I don't think it's as big a problem as it could be, because he is one of the best three-point shooters in the NBA, especially in the pullback, in the step back situation. Look at this. Look at this right here. Right now, in the past 8 games, he is shooting 51% from the three-point line. This is what he's got to do. He needs to adjust his game right now. So when as he's trying to work through these injuries, while he's trying to play through the injuries, he needs to adjust his game and keep hunting threes. And so do his teammates. His teammates got to think about that. When they have the ball in their hands and they're on the court with Brunson, they need to try to break down that defense, try to collapse that defense so that they can find him open out beyond the three-point line. Now, he'll never be completely open, because that is one thing that defenses have basically adjusted to. Oh, this is the wrong here we go. All right, this is the right halftime report. Sorry about that. One thing that the defenses have adjusted to is they don't ever leave him wide open, ever, even when the ball's not in his hands. There's a man on him constantly, and that's smart. But There are definitely ways the Knicks can figure out how to make that defense sag. We have Karl-Anthony Towns. The man is nearly unstoppable. We have Bridges in the paint, mid-range. He is the best right now. He's one of the best in the NBA in terms of making the mid-range jumper. We also have OG, fantastic cutter. And then we have Josh Hart, who is, I mean, the guy is unexpectedly lethal from the three-point line, and no one finishes like Hart does at all. I think he is also leading the NBA in finishing at the rim for all non-bigs. So when you look at it that way, you're like, okay, right now, Brunson, okay, he can't he can't swivel everybody to death. Some writer wrote play Twister with opponents in the paint. I love that. Yeah, he can't quite do that and still deliver a make. Okay, he's struggling a little bit right now, and it might be because his ankles are barking. He doesn't have quite the lift. So, but what does he have? He has a lethal three-point shooting shot. In the last 8 games, 6.4 attempts, he's hitting 51%. Let's exploit that. Exploit it. Let's go for it. Lean into that. Why not? Look at Deuce McBride, 48.6%, nearly 50% for him on nearly 5 attempts. Look at Josh Hart, 56.4% on nearly 3.5 attempts. And we have Mikal Bridges, who started off slow, struggled, but in the last 8 games, he is shooting 40.7% from the three-point line. The thing is interesting here. Oh, sorry, we lost this here. Karl-Anthony Towns in the last 8 games has not been that effective from the three-point line. He's only shooting 35.3%. This is the guy who led the NBA in three-point shooting for a long stretch. We've got offense up the ass. We have so much fucking offense. It's incredible, but we need to lean into it. Sometimes I just wonder what they're doing out there. Tonight, the New York Knicks only attempted 24 three-point shots. What is that? Come on. This should be 34. This should be, I'd be happy it was 44. We shot 41.7% against better teams. This is not going to cut it. The way we won tonight is not going to cut it against better teams. And Orlando is a good team, but they're not what they are without Franz and Paolo. So right now, I put them more in the lower end. We got to keep focused on that stuff. Oh man, thank you so much for joining me here. My name is George. This is Into the Knicks-Verse. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. Hit the thumbs up button for me and drop your comments. Definitely want to hear your thoughts and feelings about all of this. This is Into the Knicks-Verse live post-game show. I will say I couldn't be happier with the trade, honestly, because I will say this: the Knicks right now with Karl-Anthony Towns have the potential for greatness. Potential for greatness. We need to figure out that defense. And if there was one coach in the NBA who should be able to figure it out, it's Tom Thibodeau. The fact that he hasn't quite yet is a little bit concerning, but you know what? I'm gonna still. I'm gonna call it out. I'm gonna call it out. But I still believe that Thibs is gonna figure it out. What he did in the previous past 2 seasons, he leaned into offensive rebounding. With a team like this that shoots an unbelievable at an unbelievable high clip of efficiency, there's going to be less rebounds. There's definitely less offensive rebounds. So we need to switch our emphasis from offensive rebounding dominance, which we had in the previous 2 seasons, especially with Mitch and Isaiah Hartenstein around. We need to switch that to defensive rebounding, because there's not going to be as many offensive rebounding opportunities with a team like this. We make buckets. We just make them. We need to protect the ball. Tonight was an uncharacteristic night in terms of protecting the ball. We had way too many turnovers tonight. We ended up with 17 turnovers. 17 turnovers is way too much for a New York Knicks team that averages about 13, which is like in the top 4 or 5 in the NBA. That's way too many, especially in that first half. We got very careless. Towns had 6 turnovers. Hart, 5. OG with 2. And Brunson with 3. The only one who protected the ball tonight on the starting unit was Mikal Bridges. All right. Who else to talk about here? Let me look at the chat here. What's up, brother? What's up, Kareem? Shout out to you, brother. Alex, let's go Knicks. Is it shoot the 3, bro? Nothing but that's right. Hey, it's math, bro. It's math. But you have to have a balance. You're right that you just can't just keep shooting threes blindly. You know, there's no doubt about that. If there's something you can exploit in the paint or driving to the hoop itself, do it. The thing is, right now, our best paint threat is Jalen Brunson. I mean, he is the best in the entire NBA. Anyone who's under 6'4" or 5, he is the best in the NBA. And right now, I think his ankles are not allowing him to be the Brunson that we have seen in the past couple of seasons, which is okay. You have to adapt. Adapt or die, basically, is what happens. So right now, we need to adapt. When Brunson gets a little healthier, should we adapt back? Yes, we should. Always gravitate to what is the most effective way to get the W. This team has all of the ingredients necessary to do it. They do need another big to come in, and that is Mitchell Robinson. Now, the problem is with Mitch, we really have no idea when he's returning. Like I mentioned earlier, Shams said something like maybe February. That's a long time. That's a long time to wait. That will be about 10 months we would have waited from when he got injured to when he returns. That's a long time. I wonder at this point if Leon has some other ideas. I've seen people, beating the drum on Walker Kessler. Maybe he is the guy that we should make the trade for. But dealing with Danny Ainge is always a nightmare. Always a nightmare. We somewhat overpaid for Mikal Bridges. I mean, a little bit, maybe one pick too many, but those picks weren't going to be great picks anyway because the Knicks are a good team. Knicks are going to be playing winning basketball, so these were going to be in the low 20s, or not. I'm sorry, the high 20s. Maybe even, like 28th pick, whatever. Those aren't great quality first round picks. You're talking about the middle, 18th pick, 20th pick. Okay, maybe. But like 28th pick, that's not as valuable. 26th pick is not as valuable. So, but maybe did we give it one too many? Maybe. But that's like nitpicking at this point. What we need is for the New York Knicks to... this is what I wish would happen. I wish that the team itself went out. They just like got together and decided, hey, as a unit, we're going to play the best defense possible tonight and take it one game at a time. I don't think they've made that commitment. And I know because I've watched teams, these Knicks teams, who have made that commitment. There are teams, especially in the 80s and 90s teams, who made that commitment where it didn't matter what they were going to do offensively. They were going to win a game defensively. I want to see this team make that mental commitment. We're going to win tonight defensively. I know the score looks like they did it, 191, but the Magic are not right now an NBA level offense. Even though tonight, the two highest scorers, I think the two highest scorers for the Magic, both had career nights. Both of them. Mo Wagner, 32 points. Career night for him. Career night Knicks deliver. Career night delivered twice tonight. And then Tristan Da Silva, the rookie, 20 points for him tonight. Career night for him. That's the. But they did hold him to 91 points. And it's because Jalen Suggs could not hit a bucket. He had been averaging like 29 points a game for the past 2 or 3 games. He has to do that, especially without Franz and Paolo on the court. Man. Holy shit. Look at that. All right. Let's keep going here. Jalen Brunson, 31 points, high score for the Knicks. 4 of 8 from the three-point line, 5 assists. He is playing through some somewhat injuries, discomfort. I'm loving what he's giving us, and I believe that this man deserves to be an all-star this season, no doubt. I tweeted this out. Now, this was a moment here which I could not stand what happened. Deuce got on a break. He went up for a layup, maybe even a dunk attempt. And Suggs blocked the shot, and the refs ignored the obvious foul. Look at his hand. His hand is on Deuce's shoulder. I said, I never realized you were allowed to use the offensive player's shoulder to catapult yourself into a block. Well, that's what the NBA refs have allowed tonight. Ridiculous. Mikal Bridges, nice game for him. I saw his defensive intensity did tick up a bit. We need him to continue in that way. And he delivered 17 points on 7 of 11 shooting tonight. Loved it. He had very good stretches. Very good stretches. Orlando Magic's PR tweeted this out. Orlando Magic center Moritz Weasley, which is Moritz Wagner, has recorded 31 points tonight versus Knicks, setting a new career high. Wagner's previous career best was 30. Set on November 15th, 2019 at Minnesota. Ooh, I wonder if that was Towns. Like I said, Bridges played his he played tonight 17 points, 7 of 11 shooting, but he also played his 500th NBA game. He has never missed a game ever. He's like 33rd on the all-time consecutive games list, and he'll probably end up being up there at some point in the top 10. I would imagine that's his goal. 17 points for him. OG Anunoby did not have a good shooting night for him, but man, was he outstanding defensively. OG Anunoby was a plus 14. He was a team high plus 14 tonight, even though he did only deliver 7 points and 5 rebounds. Karl Anthony Towns, a 20-20 double-double. 22 points, 22 assists, and he was a plus 9. And so was Josh Hart, a plus 9 in his 12 points in 33 minutes of play. Jalen Brunson, 31 points for him, 8 of 11 from 11 of 14 from the free throw line. He was missing those free throws in the first half. Also frustrating. These are things. I mean, the Knicks ended up shooting 80% from the free throw line, but this is a team that could shoot 88% easily. They at one point were the number 1 free throw shooting team in the NBA. What else is here to note? Josh Hart, 12 points for him. Only 5 rebounds, but he did pick up 5 assists. 3 Knicks starters with 5 assists each. The Knicks only had 20 assists tonight. This is a team that already has eclipsed last year's 30 plus assists compared to last year. This season in tonight's game, only 20 assists for them. I got scrambled up there. Sorry about that. Only 20 assists for the Knicks. But they shot 41.7% from the three-point line. Just did not attempt nearly as many threes as you should in today's NBA. But in this case, it's not that big a deal because Orlando is not a lethal three-point shooting team. So you got to kind of balance it out. Definitely for that. Precious Achiuwa in 18 minutes only made 1 bucket, but he got a couple of free throws. He picked up 5 rebounds, 4 points for him. Cam Payne, probably his worst game as a Knick so far, but he's been a really good contributor off the bench. I'm glad to see him back from his injury, but 0 points for him tonight. And Miles Deuce McBride hit both of his three-point attempts, 7 points in his 21 minutes of play, but and he finished he was a +6. Nice, good for him. Yeah, +6 for him, +6 for Cam. Precious was a -4. Yeah. Interesting. Josh Hart was a +9. Same with Karl Anthony Towns. But the leader on this team was with a +14 tonight, and ± was OG Anunoby. There was one moment there when he was on the floor diving for a loose ball, and he was like struggling. He looked like he was trying to slide across the floor to get that loose ball. Excellent. His effort is inspiring, honestly, even though he only got credit with 1 steal and 1 assist tonight. And Mikal Bridges did get credit with 1 block, Towns with 1 block, and Josh Hart with a block. Only 3 blocks for the Knicks tonight. 100 points. The Knicks scored 100 points tonight. Same amount. Wait, they scored 100 against the Hawks, maybe 101, but tonight was a win. Beautiful. Beautiful. As I mentioned before, you can see Wagner with 32 points off the bench, 10 of 15, shooting 4 of 7. He and Towns definitely have a history. There was a double technical situation, I believe, at one point. 6 rebounds from Mo. And Tristan Da Silva, the rookie, Orlando, they do a great job drafting. 20 points for him, 2 of 5 from the three-point line, 9 of 17 overall. Wendell Carter Jr., I'm not even sure what he's even doing anymore on the court. I thought he had potential to be an interesting, good player. I'm seeing a regression on his part. Batazi, 8 points, 10 rebounds for him in 25 minutes of play. And Contavious Caldwell-Pope, that guy, talk about regression. 4 points only for him. Wow. Now, when you look at this, you know what? Maybe it was the Knicks defense. Like, they kept the score the way it is. I mean, I was seeing a lot of missed open looks, but, that's a strategy. Like, why guard guys on a three-point line if they can't hit a 3? The problem is that when you face a team who can hit a 3 and you approach it the same way, you get your asses beat. So, it makes me wonder what's the real approach here. All right, team stats. New York Knicks only took 71 shots tonight. Wow. That is some slow pace, people. That is like, holy shit. The tortoise and the hare doesn't even. The tortoise could get at least 80 shot attempts. This is pretty bad right now. Holy shit. But the Knicks did get to the free throw line a lot, 30 times. 20 hit 80% of them. Though I do believe they probably could have gotten 40 times. The refs were not calling fouls that they should have called. No doubt about that. The assist, the Orlando Magic somehow out-assisted the Knicks tonight, 24-20. The steals were even, 8-8. They were a +7 in blocks, 10-3. In turnovers, the Knicks, 19 turnovers. That was atrocious, 19 turnovers, but they were still a +2 in points off of turnovers somehow, which explains why they won. Fast break points, they were a -4, and in points in the paint, they were a -6. But in terms of fouls, they were a +10. They were the recipients of 10 more fouls than the Orlando Magic. And they went to the free throw line and made those buckets. And honestly, that was a big difference in the game. Because when you look at the three-point shooting, Knicks made 10 three-point shots. The Magic made 9. The Knicks made 33 field goal attempts. The Magic made 36. So it came down to the free throws. Even though I thought this game wasn't being called the way it should have been called, because the Orlando Magic are an incredibly aggressive and handsy team, they could be called on a foul almost every play. So they put the refs in a tough spot. Should I just keep calling fouls? And the refs, I think what's happening right now, and I'm going to wrap this up. This is what's happening now with the NBA. Ratings are down. There are no real rivalries at the moment. There are no real legit superstars who can win the cup right now. Steph Curry, he's old. He's, what is he, 37? 36, 37, 38? LeBron, I think, is like 40 or something. Who else? Like, Joker has already won a chip, and he plays in Denver. You know, the Celtics have already won their chip. Joel Embiid, I don't know. The guy is like, you know, he should just be in a convalescent home at this point. He's just so old and injured. You know, so what's happening right now with the NBA? No one knows what to latch onto. And on top of that, you know, you can't just watch any team you want, any night you want. You know, you got to cough up almost $200 to get the package. So it's limiting the total reach of the audience itself. And then when you have situations where, you know, they're allowing defenses to play really tough and handsy against one opponent, but when the other opponent when the recipient of that tries to reciprocate, they get called on fouls. It's tricky. And I think what the NBA is doing is they're allowing a lot of physicality in the game because they think that that's what's going to bring eyeballs to the game. I think that's a big mistake. Honestly, I think it's a big mistake. It's ruining the beauty of the game itself. If you want one of those, you know, grunt fest, you know, like a little mosh pit, if you want a mosh pit under every single hoop, you know, then you got to change your rules. You got to change your what is actually a foul. You know, the hand checking rule, all those things have to go, you know, be modified. But the NBA wants their cake and eat it too. They want to keep the rules the way they are, but they want to allow the refs to ignore obvious foul calls, which is what the Magic were doing to the Knicks that entire first half. Maybe they're trying things out. Maybe they'll figure it out, at least within the next couple of months, but I'm really hoping so because it's ruining the integrity of the game for me, personally. Let's just lean into what is beautiful about this game. Lean into it. Yes, we don't want ticky-tack fouls. Exactly, Lex. Exactly. We don't want ticky-tack fouls, but we also don't want one team to manhandle in like, you know, just first of all, there was what was that one play? I tweeted that out where I think it was Suggs. He like grabbed Brunson like 3 times before the ref finally called. On the 3rd time is when the ref finally called the foul. Come on, that stuff gets frustrating as fuck, and it also throws the offensive player out of his rhythm. And is that really what your intention is? To have an ugly game of just missed shots, back and forth? No, we don't want that. This is not the 90s, not the 80s. The reason you went away from that approach is because you were losing eyeballs then. And you lost eyeballs then because Michael retired. Let's be real here. And you lost Magic, you lost Larry Bird, Charles, Shaq, Kobe. Those were superstars. Those were people that you had to watch whenever they were on. We don't have those kind of players today. So you need, well, I in my opinion, Brunson is like that kind of guy. I mean, I want to see him play every night. Cat is that kind of guy. Let them roam. Let them do their thing. That's what's going to get people to be excited about this game again. And also, this league pass, the price of it should be chopped in 1/3, from $178, whatever it is, $180 to $60. They should be chopped by 1/3. Don't get so greedy, guys. You guys have gotten greedy, and that's what's suffocating the sport because younger viewers can't get attached to anybody because they can only watch the players that are in their local market. And even those games, I don't even know how it works, but here in LA, you got to go up to like the 691 channel on DirecTV or 693, and like you never know when it's on. You know, look, they got to get that shit together because this is a beautiful sport. It's my favorite sport by far, and we need to re-inject it with a new life right now. And luckily, we have Wembanyama. I mean, there's some guys in college right now that look outstanding that are coming in. So it's, you know, there's a lot of hope for the future. All right, I'm gonna look at the chat here for now and see what we got. Let's see. Oh my God. Look here. Steve Larson, what's up, Manny? Finney Smith would be nice. It would be a nice addition. He would be, but I think, it might cost. That's the thing. I don't know. I mean, it's going to be tricky for Leon and company to make a deal right now because we're so close to the second apron. I think we only have about $500,000 in wiggle room, so we're gonna have to trade somebody out. It's gonna be interesting. We'll see how they can do it. But I do believe that Leon and Brock will exhaust all options. I do believe that. I just don't think the league likes James Dolan because he won't sell, and that beef trickles down to the Knicks as a team. Maybe. But I just to clarify some things. Dolan is an incredibly respected owner in the NBA. He understands how to deliver entertainment for his consumers. You guys know, if you go to MSG, you watch a game there, it's just an outstanding, thrilling experience. And then when they win, of course, it's even better. But even if they just going there it's just an excellent experience. You go to other arenas, not so much, man. Not so much. He's also the guy, he created the Sphere, or he was a part of, he is the owner of Sphere in Las Vegas. And he's also a big investor in over here in Inglewood in Los Angeles. The guy just has a nose for how to create entertainment venues that attract and deliver for audiences. So he is a very intelligent guy. The NBA needs him. Though they need to just get a common ground between the two of them. El Cid says, George, like to see you cover the players in D-League some, playing their asses off. Yes, I will. I watched some of the Westchester Knicks today, actually. And I was impressed with this guy, Donovan Williams. Donovan Williams went undrafted. He went to Texas and Texas A&M, I believe, and I think Oregon State? Not sure 100%. But he definitely went to University of Texas. Went undrafted. The Knicks got him. The guy shows like he's got some potential. He might have some, if he doesn't get on the Knicks, because, we're trying to get a championship, I could see him ending up on another team somewhere. He's an interesting player. Obviously, I loved watching Dadier out there. I really do think Pacome Dadier is a big steal. The Knicks got a steal with him, for sure. But I'll put some more time into analyzing those guys, man. Westchester is killing it right now. We have some really good players down there. David Smith, what's up, brother? Roll the dice on the Knicks. That was unacceptable, in my opinion. And I loved what Brunson said afterwards. Just look, if we don't want him doing that, we need to play better and we need to win. And he's right. He's absolutely right. And tonight is not the kind of win that convinces me that they have responded to that. And it's mostly because the Magic just aren't a good offensive team. So I need to see more. We'll see. What's the next game against? The next game we have, I believe it's a big game. I believe it's against the. I believe we are playing the Minnesota Timberwolves, right? Yes, we are. Timberwolves, Tuesday, December 17th. Let me ask you guys this. If we don't win that game. Oh, man. That is... I'm going to say this clearly and plainly. That game against Minnesota is an absolute must-win. Must-win. Not in terms of standings or anything like that, but psychologically. This team has the potential to go all the way. But potential can be subverted by unfortunate events. And losing to the Timberwolves would be an unfortunate event that could start clouding the mind, could start creating doubt in the mind, and we don't want that. We want this team to soar, to start soaring, and it begins with a win of any kind. I don't care what kind of win you get in Minnesota, but it needs to be a win. We need a W on December 17th. Let's go. Randall and Dante they'll be trying to have a revenge game. That's right, David Smith. They will be trying. But this team has the players to stop that from happening. I can't wait for that game. Cannot wait for that game. Dante and Rick Brunson round 2. Can you imagine? Can you imagine like Rick Brunson and Dante just slugging it out? Oh my God. No, I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that. But I can imagine it. Can imagine it for sure. All righty. I thought I was going to go on for about an hour. I am. It's been about 50 minutes. Thank you guys for joining me here. This is Into the Knicks-Verse. My name is George. I appreciate you guys joining me here tonight. I really still really truly believe in this team. I do. It just sometimes it's a sucker punch. Sometimes it's like a kick to the nuts. You know, when you lose a game like we lost to the Atlanta Hawks, because I know how great this team could be. And then tonight, you know what? Shout out to the Magic. We destroyed them in the previous game, and tonight they were like, you know what? We need to like rise up. We can't let that happen again. And they played their asses off defensively. They took advantage of everything that the refs allowed them to do, in terms of getting way too physical with us and not getting fouls called on them. They took advantage of it, and shout out to them for doing it, but they still lost. They still lost, and that's the way it should be. This New York Knicks team has got to accept that they are destined for greatness. Sometimes it's harder to accept something like that about yourself than it is to accept it in somebody else. I feel like that's what's happening with this Knicks team right now. They know they can be great, but they haven't fully embraced how they can do it. They need to figure it out. And that, my friends, I'm putting on Tom Thibodeau. He's the coach. He should be the one who helps them get to that. He's the one who helps them unlock that. All right. Thank you so much for watching me. Watching Into the Knicks-Verse. Truly appreciate it. It's been great. I'm glad I went live with you guys. Again, drop your comments. I read them all. Hit the thumbs up button for me. Share this video. And I will see you around the Knicks-Verse. Let's go.